Hi, welcome to my channel where I share career and personal development tips and opportunities, especially for new graduates or new entrepreneurs on how to develop themselves in a new role or new in business. In my last video, I shared on how to use automation to improve productivity using email automations in Outlook and Gmail. But today my focus is more on someone who hasn't started the job yet but has been called for an interview. So I'm going to show you what to expect when you receive the email. So this is a virtual interview I'm focusing on. So if you've been called for an interview and it's going to be a virtual interview, what to look out for in the email and the steps that you need to take before you accept the invitation, and after you accept the invitation leading up to the date that you do the interview. So I'll share with that now. Okay, so the first thing to check is to make sure that the organization that has called you for an interview is actually the organization that you think has called you for an interview. Because I know that sounds obvious, but when you've applied to 10, 15 companies in a row, which sometimes happen, I know I've done it, you want to make sure that that is the right company that you think, the company that has called you for an interview is actually the one that you think. So you want to make sure that you go back to the application form that you sent and the personal statement that you sent and go to the organization website just to make sure that you brush up on the things that you had either written or the things that you had studied about the organization. Now, going back to the invitation of the interview, I am going to show you an email that I received as an invitation to an interview. And this was my first virtual interview. The first thing to look at is the time, to check the time that the interview is going to be conducted. The second thing is to check if there is anything that they want you to send to them before the interview is conducted. Sometimes they'll ask for a confirmation, sometimes they'll ask for some documents. Make sure that you don't skip the email. You read through it very well and understand. And usually you also have a contact person in the email in case you have any questions. Just make sure that you take note of the contact person and the contact details. And the other thing to ensure is to make sure that if the interview is going to be conducted either in Teams, which is usually the case, or Zoom, you've got all the links to both downloaded, whether it's in your phone or on a laptop. And another thing is to check who is going to be on the panel. This is a good idea to check the best people who are going to be in the panel. Another tip that I can give you is to look them up on LinkedIn and just to get an understanding of what their role is, and if maybe you want to prepare some questions that you are going to ask them at the interview, that will also give you an opportunity to think about the questions that you are going to ask them. So right now I'm going to show you an example of the email that I received and also the links that you're going to be clicking on and how you can navigate through that, and anything you can do leading up to the day of the interview. Okay, so as mentioned earlier, this is an example of an online interview invite. This is one that was conducted via Microsoft Teams. It was one that I had received. So at the top here would be the role that I was being interviewed for, and then here as well, and when is the interview going to happen. So this is one thing to note, because for me, I
the time that was shown here was like 5:20 a.m., which is an unreasonable time to have an interview. But then the time zone was EST, which is something that threw me off because I'm not in this time zone. I'm in GMT time zone. But then in the body of the email, it was explained, so which resolved itself out. But it's something to look out for, maybe if it's been set up in a different time zone, and where the interview was going to be conducted and who was going to be in the panel. And like I said earlier, this is something to look out for, and also to take the details and maybe look them up on LinkedIn, look them up on the organization website to find out where they sit in the organization and sort of what their role is, any transitions, and then you can get a feel of what their interests are and what you can expect. Or if you've got any questions that you want to ask, you can formulate questions from there, or one of the questions from there. And then in the body of the email, what you would get sometimes is also maybe some documents that they want you to send prior to the interview, and a contact person. So make sure that you don't skip this bit. And once you read that, and if there's a contact person, that is useful, because if you get kicked out of the interview, like there's a disconnection or something, you can call the contact person and they'll help you get back into the interview, because that the contact person is pretty much the only person you know at this point in that organization. And here at the bottom here, very important, that will be the link for you to join the interview.
Okay, so I hope that was useful for you, and if you did enjoy this video, let me know. And if you've got any questions, let me know as well. And if you've got anything you'd like me to talk about as a graduate, especially international graduates who are interested in working remotely, let me know.